Hello everyone, it's Kissy. Welcome to my channel. It's kind of early, so I wanted to do a reading for the collective. I hope the music is not too loud. Okay, so as I was meditating, I was shuffling the cards. I did do a Celtic Cross reading and expanded on it a little bit. I consider that kind of like a synopsis of what's been up to this point, and so I'll do another reading, but I do want to just at least go through these real quick. At the center of the reading, we have you as Queen of Wands, a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, very intuitive, very magnetic, very in your power, trusting your creative gifts, trusting your intuition. What crosses you is the King of Pentacles. So take that as you will. A King of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn is crossing you. Either they're double crossing you, or they're crossing your path, or they're coming and this is what you're dealing with right now. Whatever's going on in your reality, whatever you're experiencing, this King of Pentacles is crossing your energy right now. So you're meeting, you as this fire energy are meeting with this earth energy. Whether that's union, whether that's a clash of two energies, whether that is inspiration and spirit and passion meets with material, life, physicality, health, self-worth. However it plays out in your reality, okay? These two elements are playing out, this fire, earth energy. So it looks positive because the Queen of Wands is a positive card in the upright. And what's crossing her is a king. So this is the completed visible form of what you've materialized. Okay? So at the root of the situation, the root cause of the situation, or at the base of this issue, why are you in this fire energy right now? Why are you in your power the way you are right now? Why are you being crossed by this earth masculine energy? What does this mean? Where does this come from? It comes from a conflict, okay? This conflict, you either it was a conflict about the love that you were giving to a family. We have the Five of Wands in reverse, we have the Ten of Coins in reverse, and then we have a Page of Cups. So it's like you were putting innocent love into establishing this foundation, or having this family, or having this kind of stability and home, in essence, okay? But there was conflict. There was inner conflict, or there was hidden conflict when it came to a family, or when it came to something to do with the home and stability. And you were putting love into the situation, okay? And what you ended up getting back from the situation was a Page of Pentacles. So either an earth child came about this, or comes about this. Either a business comes of this, or the seed of Pentacles was planted and is at the root of this King of Pentacles crossing you. You created a Page of Pentacles. So you could have created a concept that is now manifesting, that it's now coming to fruition. those are all the different levels of that it can show up. Because on the most mundane, this could just be that you're very much in your power. You have boundaries. You peep game basically, and somebody is coming at you from this 3D reality, thinking that because they got money, they know more than you, or feeling very empowered. They're like, I'm a king, you're a queen, you look good, I like you, I'm attracted to you, whatever. But this situation is coming because it's manifested from either an internal conflict that you had with your stability, or with your family, or with your sense of groundedness. Okay, you were experiencing it from this Page of Cups energy, which is from this very innocent, loving, open, receptive energy. It's like, okay, it's like a child learning responsibility, or a child learning to love themselves. And so that was because you were dealing with a emperor in reverse in the past that didn't listen to their intuition with the Chariot here in reverse. And you had to call a judgment that this person in your past, this emperor in reverse, was a lie, or the information that about this emperor in reverse, it's like you saw the lies, or you figured out that they were not honest or in integrity. There was something false about this emperor in reverse in your past that didn't follow their spiritual guidance, and you had to call judgment on that. This is an emperor. So this is someone that you saw in high power, someone that you saw as a true authority of wisdom and power, a masculine presence that you respected, looked up to, valued, saw as the height of wisdom and masculinity. And again, this doesn't have to be that it's a man that you were dealing with in the past. It could have been a female, but it's a matter of the energy, the presence of that power, or the presence of that authority. You had to call judgment that was a false authority. That authority wasn't in integrity. They weren't honest either with themselves or with you, or with the people that they were in charge with. They were young-minded and didn't operate very clearly when they communicated. It was underhanded communication. It was to stay in their position. It was to become creating. This was like gaslighting and stuff, okay? Sending their little minions to create information, false information, so that you don't recognize that they were just a tyrant, basically. And so we have that, looking ahead, you just want a new beginning, where you're free, where you're kind of carefree in terms of just expressing your truth. You want to explore your truth. You want to endeavor in new creative possibilities. You're open and receptive to receive. You're expectant. You're almost expecting an opportunity is coming, whether it's in love, or whether it's in business, work, creativity, something to do with what you're passionate about. You're very passionate, and you're expecting to receive good news. And opportunities are coming that are going to, it's going to bring a lot of options, and I feel like these options are taking you, if you're single, you're not going to be single anymore. If you've been very independent, you may have a lot of options that can help you maybe get out of a sticky situation. If right now you're feeling like a lack of freedom, like you feel stuck in a situation, an opportunity is coming. As a matter of fact, many opportunities are coming. So don't get lost in don't get lost in your feelings when it comes to all these options. The key is that you're open and receptive, and opportunities are arriving because you're ready to go into like new territory. You've explored where you are. Now you're looking across the ocean and seeing if something is either coming your way, or if it's almost like you're ready to take a trip. Like like someone is on their way to pick you up and you're heading out and you're going to go explore. Like, I don't know. It's like ready for a journey, ready for a experience. And feeling prepared for it as well. So it's definitely something that is going to release you from worry, release you from a feeling of isolation and stuckness and abandonment, even if you felt that. But whatever it is, it's going to open your eyes and make you feel that you can embrace your life, that you don't have to hold back, and that you don't have to just take up as little room as possible, you know. Okay, I'll stand over here in this tiny little corner with this little puddle and just drink of this little well just for me, and keep everything else all the way, you know, like away from me. This kind of feels like this opportunity that's coming, or these opportunities that are coming. If you are discerning, it will turn things around for you in a positive way. It'll release a lot of burdens from your experience, which is great news, I find. So, how you see yourself at this time? You see yourself like a transformer, like someone that can transform a sticky situation, someone that can face your fears, someone that can go up against, you know, these dark energies that make us feel challenged, make us feel like this goes against all that I am. It's like, why are you trying to darken my light? Why are you trying to bring darkness into my reality? So you feel like you're willing to transform that. You feel like it's like, if this is how you see yourself, you might see yourself like you're willing to be the negative in other people's realities, if that means that you get to free yourself, okay, and receive better opportunities for you. You have to put an end to bullshit behavior. You have to put an end to people trying to destroy what you create. So you're willing to be the destroyer, the transformer of anything that tries to stop what you have going on. People might see you as unstable. That's okay. I think you've gotten used to that. It's like, hey, you don't see a plan for me in the future? That's fine. You don't have to. The only time somebody has to be concerned about you is when they're responsible for you. If someone's actually not responsible for you, they have nothing to say. Their opinions don't matter, their feelings don't matter, nothing. In reality, it doesn't. I mean, we can be considerate, we can care about the people we care about, but if somebody is not actually responsible for you, they don't have an authority over your journey, your life, your who you are. Like, they can see you unbalanced. They can see you. This gives me also the impression of homeless. And I mean, homeless doesn't have to be actually physically reality that way, but like kind of like a gypsy spirit, like a roaming spirit, like someone that isn't quite grounded. Okay, that's okay, because what you really are being is balance. You're tempering your own energies. You're tempering your own vibration. You're alchemizing and finding the balance that is you. Because at the end of the day, you have to move throughout your days in ways that are not restrictive to you, are not tumultuous, are not, it's like, how do it's like, you may not know where the journey is leading, but you know to be prepared enough to take on the journey. You know what kind of things have to be cleared. So let's say you could only see 12 feet away. I mean, that's nothing, right? I don't know. A yard away. A freaking football field. Alright, let's just say you can only see as far as a football field. And they're telling you, we're not starting the games until... it's not going to happen right now. But in the meantime, relax. In the meantime, but what you're doing with your time is you're clearing the path on your field so that when the path is open, the opportunities do come through. It's time to take action. Your path is already paved. So you're doing like the groundwork. You're clearing the space to lay down. It's like planting the seeds. But this is also the outcome, the generosity of you giving from what you've received. The outcome is you're able to give of what you receive. Whether that's money, whether that's your health, whether that's your optimism, whether that's your kindness, whether that's your whatever, you have an abundance to give. You're able to give and then some. And what people don't know or notice in themselves, for the most part, from what I see, is you have the option, like, to give of yourself. Okay? And that just means share your energy the way you would, like, how do you share your energy with yourself? How do you use your energy? Like, what vibe are you in? If you're in a certain vibe with yourself that's miserable, you're going to be that for others. You can pretend not to be that for others. You could put on a happy face for others, but that's not going to change who you are on the inside. And so the experience is always going to be from that place. And no matter how much you think that you're bringing on the positive experience, you could be bringing on a very negative experience for many. But, okay. I don't know where that was going. Oh, when I was doing the cards, initially I thought I was going to kind of go on the negative and talk about karmic energies and, you know, whatever. But as I started doing the reading, just to center myself, just to get connected to spirit or whatever, the song that came out was the Beach Boys, the song that came out in the movie Vanilla Sky at the end of the movie, well, in many parts of the movie, but the song Good Vibrations. It has kind of like a creepy tone to it, I'm going to be honest. But if you've seen the movie, I don't want to give it away, but because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to give that away. But the ending of that movie, it's almost like let's call it the epiphany moment. As I was doing this, and then the song comes out, Good Vibrations. So I got the feeling I was being kind of guided by Spirit. Let's go into our good vibrations. Or, as I started doing the reading, okay, going around, and I started to see it, I can see the energies were positive and optimistic, and it was giving me like a higher perspective. It was making me feel elevated in terms of energetically, like optimism, in terms of perception. It's your perception that changes your mood, that changes your vibe. So you have to be able to get out of the negative perspective. It's easy to get caught in the rut of the pattern of this thing pisses me off and this is how I respond to it. This thing pisses me off. This person knows this thing pisses me off and this is how I respond to it. And this is how I will continue to respond. We can do that, but we already know that response to it hasn't worked. We already know that response to it doesn't feel good. We already know that response to it feels like shit. Gives us more, it's more energetically draining than it is empowering. It might look empowering, it might feel empowering, it might sound empowering, in the moment, you might think, I'm this big bad lion. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you feel this big, you feel this small. And that could be whether your pride is hurt, that could be whether your feelings are hurt, or you feel guilty now for hurting someone's feelings, or you feel like shit because now you're tired, or you hurt yourself, or you hurt someone else. Those reactions, right? It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is why I don't like people with drama in my life. Because they're messy. And I don't want that mess. Who the fuck wants that mess? Do you really want to become agitated, like, out of fun? Like, who becomes agitated out of fun? So we respond out of agitation because there's a lack of understanding, whether it's our own emotions or our own needs or how to exert our own boundaries, and then or we project that onto another and expect that other change and fix and do something better so that we feel better. But it's like, no matter, okay, this is what I have a tendency to tell people. You can wait forever for someone to fix and change who they are so that you can be content being with them, so that you can have conflict-free zone with them. That person, number one, doesn't have to change. Number two, may not be able to, may not want to, may pretend to, and then you find out it's not real. So it's like, why bother trying to change someone? You're either compatible or you're not. You either get along or you don't. You either like each other or you don't. You either love each other or you don't. You either accept each other or you don't. You either live with it or you don't. So if you're going to live with it, if you're going to accept it, then this is what that is. Whether it's someone's ignorance and you want to say they're ignorant, or whether it's somebody's habits and you want to say it's their habits, whether it's someone's complaints about you and your habits and your ways. So it's like they can spend a lifetime bitching that they don't like parts of you, and it's like, okay, then why are you with me? Leave me then. Don't sit here and be miserable about who I'm not to you and then try to make me miserable because you're miserable with you about me. Go be where it's better. Or you come to the realization, I can be around this person and complain that this thing that they do really takes me out of my peace. Or you can accept this is something that this person does. Do I have a necessity to keep this person in my space, constantly poking at the bear? Or is this a person that I can say, okay, stay there doing what you do, honey, bye, and just go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Be somewhere else. Be elsewhere where you can just be without someone there constantly trying to poke a bear because they're bored, because they're ignorant, because they're needing some kind of attention that you're not interested in giving for that behavior. It's like, get out of here. I forgot where the moon is at right now. Is it still Capricorn? Was it Capricorn? Jeez, why can't I remember? Sometimes I'm all in. Sometimes I'm... Hold on. Oh yeah, the sun is in Capricorn. I know Capricorn was like very, like, I was already feeling it the minute it started. Yeah, 2 degrees Capricorn sun right now. The moon is in Gemini, 2 degrees. Listen, that's my daughter in reverse. She's a Gemini sun, Cap moon. I'm an Aries sun, Cap moon. You can imagine, even though her degrees in Capricorn are higher than mine, I'm at the very beginning, she's almost at the end of it. So her Cap has always been how do I put that? I don't know how to say it. It's like, energetically, she's difficult to say no to, energetically, because she has a very demanding presence. That it's like, you have to have some strong boundaries to be able to resist the force of that energy of Capricorn. So I've learned throughout the years to, to try to hone it in within myself, to recognize that aspect of myself. And it's like, certain energies you carry, to you is normal, and then you don't understand how you affect others, right? Like, you don't know how overwhelming you can be to someone else. You don't see it sometimes. Sometimes it's easy. It's only easy to see it when you become overwhelmed by others. You have to become extremely overwhelmed by others in order to understand overwhelming in others when they see you. Hey. It's Cap energy, man. It just is what it is. I didn't make up the astrology. I guess, we live, we learn. There's a lot of things about myself that I was not aware of in terms of, energetically speaking. Because I'm like, I look from within outward, so I can see outside of me most things. And then there's people that I see, they're the other way. It's like what's right in front of them they don't see. And I'm like, why can't you see this? It's right in front of you. And it's like, nope, they don't see that. But they'll be intuitive in other ways. It's like weird. Anywho, what else I want to share? Well, this is what I will share. I've learned not to push, not to overexert, not to overwork, not to overdo, simply because it doesn't behoove. It's almost like the rabbit, what is it called? The turtle and the hare. The hare and the turtle, whatever. All that action, all that doing, and all that huffing and puffing, and all that moving, and all that exertion, slow and steady wins the race anyway. And that's kind of a good analogy for the sun in Capricorn and the moon in Gemini. Like, maybe emotionally we're like we want to be all over the place. We want to just experience a lot of different things. But Capricorn's like, slow down, relax, chill. We're going to get there anyway. Why rush it? Enjoy the ride. Slow down. Smell the roses. Like, really, like, get real intricate with certain things. And you'll see that it might seem on some level that it's hard to, it's like, oh, well, I've experienced it all. I've done it all. Been there, done that. And get kind of like real lackluster with life very easily. Like I've noticed a lot of people are like that. They feel like there's nothing else to do with their life. And yet they haven't explored anything. They haven't dared. I hope that music was not extremely loud. I have a feeling that when I'll play it back, and I'll realize that it was like super loud on the speaker. But then I can't hear it. Alright, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope it's not loud. I know so many people, not only young, older individuals, especially older individuals, that didn't really live much life. You know, old school folks, they don't really do much. They don't get to explore their own minds. They don't get to learn new things. Not because they can't. Opportunity is available. But they've gotten so conditioned to like, this is who I am. This is what I do. And that's it. They're content. They're happy. They live out their life from there, for the most part. But then you'll have some that feel this like need to, it's like when it starts to catch up to them, I haven't really done anything, then they want to like overdo the things that they didn't do. And it's like, why didn't you learn that thing you wanted to learn? Why didn't you go try out that thing you wanted to try out? Why didn't you say those things you wanted to say, or be those things you wanted to be? Like, why didn't you even try? I think that's the thing. Many don't even really want to try. It's like they put up the boundaries before they even try. And I'm not saying that we don't all have certain areas in life that we might be resistant, that there are not certain areas in life that we don't move effortlessly. Or, did I say that? I don't think I said that right. What I meant to say was like, there are areas in life that we restrict ourselves out of our fear, out of our discomfort, out of whatever it is, whatever our philosophies or the rules that we put on ourselves. Forget everyone else's rules. But what about the ones that we put on ourselves? Sometimes those are worse than the ones that are put on us by others. Because like, who really puts rules over you? Initially, your parents. After that, your job. After that, technically, society, right? The government. It's like you follow those rules. And then at some point, someone else is a rule maker in your life. Your partner, your spouse. And even more sometimes, your children, your pets. How do they establish rules? Rules because now you're restricted. Now what was once free for you to do, you have to consult them, or you have to attend to them, or you have to take care of them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's your pets, whether it's your children, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your job, whether it's your family. Because at the end of the day, it is always a choice. It is always a choice. You can abandon everyone around you and say, F that shit. I'm going to be so free, nobody can tell me what to do. So at a very young age, you decide to leave the family. You decide to then get a job you enjoy and love, so that nobody can really tell you what to do because you're doing what you like to do. So if you're doing a job you love, no one's really telling you what to do. But they are, in a way, telling you what to do when they tell you what time to get in, what time you can leave, and how much they're going to pay you for that. And you start to question, but what I'm doing is more valuable, or what I'm doing doesn't require me to be in here all day, or what I'm doing doesn't. It's like when you try to claim your time back and be like, look, I'm just as efficient in 2 hours as I could be in 8. Why don't you just pay me for the 2 hours that I complete the job what you would pay another person for 8 that takes them 8 hours? When you're competent and when you show up and you're capable of saving time and money, you become an op to many systems that just like the status quo. There was a time when I first started working at immigration. I had just, I had several years out of the military, and I go into this government job, right? I'm working for Homeland Security, and I think men in black, right? Suits and ties, and very professional and very left brain and very, we don't do emotions here, ma'am. And I'm like, yes, okay, very professional. And I could play that card for a while. I could put on the suit, I can talk the talk, I can walk the walk, I can definitely do the work, right? But I have my goofy side, I have my Aries, and my it's like that meme with Big Bird walking around with like the what are they, the whatever troops are from Star Wars, and you see like how you stick out like a sore thumb. So here I am being all bubbly and hi, good morning, and bright sunshine's all, what you would call maybe like a flower child in an environment that's gray, very black and white actually. But you know what I mean, gray, dark clouds. It's like, it's a gloomy environment. It's a very rigid, corporate world, and although corporations are becoming a lot more softer, subtler, more green, if you want to call it that, maybe, organic in a sense, like they're trying to be more people friendly, and it's still, it's a narrative that's given. It's like, here's your script and play along, and everybody's like, good morning, ma'am, how are you? Welcome to our shop. Please come on in right this way and we'll help you as soon as possible. And they're very hospitable that way, but it's not organic. You'll have another individual like, good morning, ma'am. Please come right by. Have a seat. I'll call you as soon as possible. Enjoy your time here. And you're like, oh, gee, how fun. Like, do you want to be here, sir? Maybe you need to go, on a vacation. Or maybe you need to experience life a little bit. Anyway, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. I was talking about my time in immigration. Yeah, I walk in there and I'm thinking, I walk in at first, but once you feel the temperature and you're like, oh, these people are cool, I can totally vibe with them. We can hang out outside of here and all of that. And for the most part, it became like a family. But that took some time because most of the people that were there had been there for years. And they were used to producing what they produced. Nobody bothered them. They had this like chip on their shoulder, like this very miserable life. And I remember being introduced to them, being walked around and getting introduced to everyone. And she's like, good morning. I'm like, good morning. Oh yeah, and they're explaining this is what she does, and whenever you have these issues, you bring them to this person, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, well, it was nice to meet you. You too. It's like they don't want to be bothered. And I get that. I don't want to be bothered with people all the time either. But then why the hell would you be in an environment that requires you to be bothered with people? Not just externally with the public, with your coworkers internally. You know what I mean? So, needless to say, I stirred up a lot of conflict just being there, because there was people that were trying to impose certain rules, talk to me like they were from a certain, oh, because I am an officer and you're just an assistant officer. Obviously, I came in green, right? And I was like, newbie. And I remember we were going to the courts, and it was this one lady who had a reputation for being a weirdo, right, at work. But apparently, she was professional enough to be an officer. And a gentleman who was also an officer, who was from the same country as me. So we had like this cool little bond all of a sudden, it's like, oh really, you're from there too? Cool. And so there was more of a laid back vibe with him. But remember, this is like in the movie Catch Me If You Can, where what's his name? Tom Hanks' character is sitting in the car with the other two FBI guys, and they're like, why are you so uptight? Why don't you ever tell a joke? He's like, oh, you want a joke? Knock, knock. And they're like, who's there? He's like, go fuck yourselves. So that's kind of like how that lady was. She was just like, I'm all business, and we don't play games. We're professional government agents, and this is how we're supposed to act. And I'm like, geez, lady. I mean, I wasn't no Pauly Shore kind of, person. I was like, dude, what's wrong with you? Let's go smoke. I wasn't like that. I was professional, but it was like, you can be human about it, Damn. So there was a moment where we were supposed to go to court, and I'm like, okay, so like, I asked her, I'm like, so what could I expect from this experience? Like, what are we gonna do? What, can you walk me through this before we go into the court? What goes on? What should I expect? And she says, well, we, like meaning her and the gentleman, my friend, we're gonna sit up there because we're officers. You go sit over there. And there was an issue because she assumed that I was, I guess, what they call contractors. She thought I was a contractor. She didn't know I was an officer, but I was an assistant officer, but I was an officer. And so I said, I had my badge around my neck, and I'm like, ma'am, and I literally carried the badge and put it right in her face. Ma'am, do you see this? It says I'm an officer. I understand that you don't appreciate lower level employees. I go, but I'm in the same level as you. Please act accordingly. And it was like, to such an extent, I did say it professionally as such. Initially, I started off that way. Because she still acted kind of like funky. And then I had to kind of get a little, I don't want to say ratchet, but I gotta have a little bit of, excuse me, ma'am, let's be a little human here, because she kept kind of trying to act like with this nose up at me, like she was somebody. And I'm like, let's get real here. That badge doesn't make you anything better than me, like to act that way. This is a whole thing about like society and all that, and class and whatnot. It's like, we're here and you're down there, and because you're down there, we're expected to treat you this way. And people will actually take on a persona of treating you a certain kind of way when they think you're beneath them, when they think you're less than. They assume that. But quickly she realized that I knew, like, I know how I'm supposed to be treated. Like, just because you have this position or this badge doesn't, even if it wasn't what she said, it was the presumption to begin with, and it was the attitude. You've seen it on, I'm sure they've shown that on many TV shows. If not in real life, you've seen it. People that the moment they get a position to manager, they snub you. They think they're above you. They, and the work environment helps create that in some ways, because they're like, once you become this, you really should not be engaging with your subordinates in some way, the people that you start to manage, right? So that if that's the case, and they know it's going to bring about this kind of work environment where people are going to hate you for fucking elevating, then maybe they shouldn't fucking elevate from within the team. It's like, but it's part of the fucking game that they play. It's like, we're going to put you all in the same position. You guys, you're all this. You're all assistant officers, for example. All right. The best one out of you can apply to be a supervisor, and then a manager, and then one day the CEO of the company, for example. And they keep you kind of like chasing that carrot, and you think, if I do great, and then I'll compete. And you compete with the people that you've bonded with, supposedly as a family. Imagine in a household, if it's run like that. The children kind of have to compete for who's the best child. And the best child wins the best prize. And the best prize goes to you because you're the one that's going to get the most love. Because you complied with my needs better than the rest. That's some bullshit. But we're not going to go there fully. Hey, these are the themes of Capricorn, believe it or not. It's about control. It's about power and abuse of power. It's about authority and thinking that because a little tag, a title on your door or on your blazer makes you somebody, that it's like, you're in service, child. I don't care what position you're in. When you work in the real world out there for a corporation, I don't care whether the highest position, the CEO of that corporation that's day in and day out, versus the janitor that cleans the floors, or the housekeepers and maids, whatever, that clean the office. You're all servants. That's it. You're all servants. You're all servicing. Some of us choose the service that we want to serve in. For example, I followed my passions and I do my service cookie cutter for me. I chose it and I'm supported by it. There is no person cutting me a check. There is no person telling me what to do. There is no clock. So Saturn, being time-oriented, Saturn loves a disciplined person. Saturn loves a person that can become authority within themselves. Because Saturn does not want to micromanage nobody, believe it or not. Saturn doesn't want to do that shit. Saturn doesn't want to watch over you. Saturn wants you to be competent. Saturn wants to teach you, train you, show you what is integrity, show you the right way to do things. And then when you do it effectively, you build a system around it. And it oils itself. And if you can just manage it here and there, you barely have to touch it. You barely have to deal with it. So you free yourself from time. You liberate yourself from restrictions. The more effective you can do it, the more efficient you are, the less time it takes, the more time you have. So when every job I went to, I built a system. It's like they tell you this is what your tasks are. Taskmaster. These are all the things you got to do, and this is how you got to do them. And then you start asking, why am I doing it like this? This takes up a lot of time. And I started to notice that most companies, most jobs, most protocols, most policies and procedures, they're there to keep things uniform. But that doesn't mean it's the most effective or the most efficient. It just means it's the the best way to create a system and follow it to the T so that we don't have to deal with you, basically. And then there comes the disruptor, the transformer, the person that wants to question the system, Gemini, Moon. Hey, why the hell are we doing it like this if this is easier? Why? Well, that's just the way we do it. But why though? If this is better, this is easier, this is less complicated. The more questions you ask, and not from some, ignorant place, but from a very like practical space, like this doesn't make sense. Like if you do it like this and that. Like you're not saying that you have the answer. You're just pointing out the obvious question. Like why is it being done like this? If I can figure out that this is more efficient, this is easier, this is way better. Why am I being told I can't do it this way? And why do people get mad just for asking? And why can't anyone answer that? Because as you go up the chain, you start to see who is it benefiting to keep me not asking these questions. Well, if you go to your supervisor and ask them, why do I gotta file all these papers? Because you have to, it's your job, blah, blah, blah. It's part of your job. Remember, it says, and extra duties on your policies. And you're like, oh, okay. So then you start filing papers and you're like, okay, I guess I got to do this as part of my duties. Okay. But now you're getting uncomfortable because you're like, I didn't really sign up for this. I don't remember them saying I was going to be filing papers. So then you ask the supervisor. The supervisor gives you all this pushback, all this. They figure out ways to gaslight you, to manipulate you, to, oh, no, don't worry, it's not like this, it's like that, and I don't know, they try to make it sweet, and they want you not to ask so many questions, but keep doing what you're doing. And then one day you decide, I'm going to go over the supervisor and go straight to the manager. This one day you show up early, the manager's in the office, supervisor's not there yet, and you just have a casual conversation with the manager, and you're like, it's interesting, all this paper filing, I just realized that there's such an easier way to do it. And then the manager's like, paper filing? Why are you filing papers? You're not even supposed to be around that. You're supposed to be just focused on doing this one task. Why are you filing? Well, no, the supervisor told me, that there's those extra tasks we're supposed to do, and you're like, you're not tattletaling, right? You're just basically saying what it is. And the manager's like, okay. Oh, okay, maybe I'm confused. No, not a problem. The manager's not going to inform a basic employee about anything. They're going to be like, okay, no problem. They're going to have you go back and assume everything is fine. And then when the supervisor arrives, they call them into the office and they'll question them. Why does this person do this task? Now it's a different personality. That supervisor doesn't act with that manager the way that they act with that employee. They're shitting bricks with this manager, or they're finding ways to gaslight and blame and, oh, no, what happened was, right, backtrack and try to fix what they were, the little mafia, the little scheme, the little scam that they had, pawning off their work to their subordinate, freeing up their own time without letting their manager know that they were basically skimming off the top. Meaning, they're not doing their responsibilities. They're passing it off to others to do it for them. But they're getting paid for less work because they're slave drivers type behaviors, right? But the manager isn't like that and sees what they're doing and corrects the supervisor and then promotes the employee to the supervisor position. And then you see how that supervisor would hate that employee that got promoted while they got demoted. That's like in the story of the Count of Monte Cristo when Dantes comes back from their voyage, and he has to tell his boatmaster, I guess the owner of the boat company, what he ended up doing. And the supervisor of the boat was like, I told him not to do this. He wasn't supposed to blah, blah, blah. And he goes, all right. So he gives Edmond Dantes, he gives him the papers for the boat. He makes him the boat's, captain or leader. And the other guy, you presume to demote me? And he's like, it's not a demotion. You're still going to keep your same position. You just work under this person now. And it's like, it's a low blow. And that's when revenge comes along. People want to fight you. People want to talk shit about you. People want to, make it seem like you slept your way to the top. Make it seem like you got favors to get there. Like, they'll create all kinds of stuff of why you got the position that they didn't get or that they lost. And all it was is that a true boss can see a true boss. A true boss doesn't abuse their employees because they appreciate the people that serve them. They appreciate the people that are doing their jobs effectively. They lift up those people. So a good supervisor will appreciate your effectiveness, and see your potential being wasted there and your time being wasted there, and actually try to promote you and elevate you to a position that doesn't require all of your time being used just to fill in space. Your time is the shorter. How do I put it? Since you make the best of your time, even something that requires a 10-minute task that you create is going to be more impactful. It's going to yield dividends. Is how I hear it. Yield dividends. In other words, it's like more pack for the punch, or just in small increments, you produce so much more quality, so much more in less amount of time. Why? Because you're efficient. Because efficiency and cost effectiveness, it's like what costs money is time. So of course they're going to make a task long, but they're going to pay as little as possible, because the longer you're there, the more it's like it gives an illusion of like extra being so busy. And yeah, there might be positions or jobs that require you to do long hours. I remember certain jobs I would have that I was so into whatever I was doing, whether it was researching or whether it was writing or whether it was doing something like a project that I was leading, that I can be like, I was the one doing it. Like, there was no person telling me this is what you need to do and this is what you need to. No, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly how I need to do it, and I'm getting it done. And you get so involved in it, before you know, it's like you don't even want to go to lunch. You don't even want. You're like, what? I gotta go already? The day's over? Can I take it home? No, you can't take it home. Fuck, I want to take it home. Like, I just want to work on it. So you go home and then you start doing what you can do from home, and then you bring it over to work first thing. You try to get there as early as possible. And they think you're trying to milk the company like for hours. Hey, you're not supposed to log in early, or you're not supposed to stay late. You really have to just work within these hours. But it's like now you have all this excess of energy that you're putting into something. You don't give a shit about the hours. You don't give a shit about the pay. It's like, no, it's a matter of the energy is here now, and I'm working with it here and now. It's like, so that's the problem with these fixed corporations, that it's like they try to fill in the time with people that don't even have to fill themselves with. And then you limit those that are super productive, but limit their times. And it's like, if you allow people to just work the way that they work, you see, you get people to fit the position that they need to fit, versus trying to instead of making someone try to do a task just anyone. No, create the job around the person, not the person around the job. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. I thought I was going to do a reading, but I'm not. So, anyways, that's all, folks. I'll come back soon with another message. Take care.